All right, I got some great insights for you. 58-year-old man has a history of chronic alcohol use disorder and multiple episodes of pancreatitis, acute pancreatitis. And let's read the question. An upper GI endoscopy reveals isolated gastric varices in the fundus of the stomach. So isolated in the stomach, no evidence of esophageal varices. That's going to be really helpful here. And let's think of this from a test prep kind of perspective. What are we going to be predicting, first of all, before we even look at the answer choices? Well, if it's isolated in the gastric varices, we're not going to see if it's isolated in, just the gastric varices in the fundus, then we're not going to see esophageal varices. So we're not going to think azygous, and we're not going to think left gastric, because that's going to have a huge anastomosis. We are going to be thinking of just the end organ supplies, like the spleen, because that's not going to be involved in a lot of anastomosis. It's just going to be isolated. Also, he's got hematemesis. So what does that tell us? So importantly, what we need to know about hematemesis is that means you're vomiting blood, and so it's an upper GI, so it's above the ligament of Treitz, the esophagus, the stomach, and the duodenum. And also he has black tarry stools. What does this mean? Okay, so that cues us in. The test writers are like, hey guys, black stools, so that means blood is digested, and that means that the bleeding happened upstream of the stomach or the esophagus. So then we go back to our differential list, and we go immediately, it's not going to be the superior mesenteric vein, it's not going to be anything below that area, or like the inferior vena cava, because it's upper bleed, so it's going to be blood is like digested, and that's why you have the black tarry stools. Okay, so let's think about what's normal. Vital signs are normal limits except for mild tachycardia. So there's a little bit of sped up heart rates. Physical examination, he has epigastric tenderness, but no hepatosplenomegaly, so not like a huge, big old spleen. Okay, so now let's look at this. Answer is azygous. So azygous is hugely involved in esophageal varices. That's not it. Left gastric, hugely involved in upper stomach and lower esophagus anastomosis stuff. So that's not it. Superior mesenteric vein thrombosis, splenic vein thrombosis. So that's going to be perfect, because if we think about the location of where this isolated bleeding occurs, just in the gastric, so it's like just behind the stomach. So that's going to be where you have the splenic thrombosis. So that's perfect. Inferior vena cava would not be right, because then that would cause like swelling of the lower extremities. So that's just crazy. So the answer is going to be D. Now let's talk a little bit about this. So short gastric veins drain the gastric fundus into the splenic vein, and when this is occluded, the blood is redirected to the short gastric, leading to the dilation formation of gastric varices in the fundus. Chronic pancreatitis, pancreatic cancer, all that stuff causes it. Note that the splenic vein runs just behind the fundus of the gastric fundus. Not esophageal varices because of portal hypertension, like in cirrhosis. So you get cirrhosis damage of the liver, causes portal hypertension. That causes the esophageal and the gastric varices to both inflame. With this question, we're only asking about the short gastric veins. So the esophagus is spared, and that's why it's not going to be azygous. Left gastric is a major component of the esophageal varices and portal hypertension, so that's not going to be involved. It would be in the entire stomach. SMVT, the superior mesenteric vein, that drains the small intestine, right colon, that's all that stuff below. That would cause ischemia of like all that digestive ischemia, but we didn't see any of that. And it also wouldn't cause this, just only selectively gastral fundal varices. Inferior vena cava, bilateral lower extremity edema, and abdominal wall collaterals. And so basically we have isolated varices, and that's the reason why it's just going to be our splenic vein. So if this is helpful, let me know. Go ahead and like this video and subscribe. If it's not helpful, comment to me and let me know like what I should change about these videos. I only want to make these videos that are helpful for you guys. So good luck with step prep.